Hey, all you teen fashion designers. It's your host, Larry Saperstein, joined as always by my fabulous co-host, Jacob Bellotti. How are you?
I am so good, Larry. We're both in flannel today.
Yeah, we're in flannel. I don't know why.
Well, it's been very rainy here in LA.
Oh my God. Well, okay. First of all, welcome to
Let's Talk About That.
All systems are a go.
Talking database activated.
Begin in 3, 2, 1.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what? Let's talk about who? Let's talk about me. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about that. Girl, I cannot believe we are talking about that.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Let's talk about that. Yeah, this rain, girl.
Last night, do you think that it rained like more than it's ever rained in a night?
No, because were you here over the holidays 2021 going into 2022?
I was.
It poured for 6 days straight during that.
I thought that was
remember
2022.
Oh, it might have been 2020. No, you're right.
Or 2023
because
in
I did
February.
I did a shoot and I got COVID. And so I had to sit alone in my apartment.
Well, it was raining the worst.
And it was raining for 6 days. And I was just sitting there very sick for 6 days in the rain.
That's terrible. But hey, maybe we're out of the drought.
Yeah.
They always say we're in a drought. But are we not in a drought anymore?
I don't know.
Maybe we're out of the drought.
It's rained a lot, but particularly this week, it has rained hard.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Look, rain in LA sucks and it's hard because everyone's always like, why? It's just rain. But you don't understand. If you don't live here, you don't understand. Because it doesn't rain that often, when you drive in the rain in LA, it's really kind of dangerous. It's more dangerous than driving elsewhere because the roads get very slick because they don't get washed off very often.
Well, also, there's not good drainage in LA.
Right.
The infrastructure's not made to handle
correct
rain. So there's floods everywhere.
And then everyone gets scared. So then it just makes the problem worse.
Yeah.
So it can be very scary.
Yeah.
However, the following day, as in a day like today,
yes,
it's beautiful.
Love.
The day after rain in LA is gorgeous.
Gorgeous. You can see for miles and miles.
I know.
Oh,
beautiful.
Love it. Anyway, we don't really have time for a Let's Talk About Us today because, frankly, we just have an amazing guest.
We have such an amazing guest today. Now, this guest is someone who you have definitely seen on your TV screens if you were a Nickelodeon girly back in the day.
Or a Freeform / ABC Family girly, honey.
Yes.
Yes. She was on the hit Nickelodeon show True Jackson VP.
Yes. And she's our first Nickelodeon star guest
That's
on
right.
the show. We've had a lot of Disney stars, but she's our first Nickelodeon star, which is super fun.
She was also a Disney Umbrella star,
That's
on
true. That's
The
true.
Fosters on ABC Family / Freeform now.
Yeah. And just all around great person. We have so many connections with her from our time in the industry as young adults coming into the industry. And we get into all of that as well.
Yes. So please welcome to the pod, Ashley Argota, right after this. Ashley Argota. Welcome to
goodness.
Let's Talk About That.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Thanks for being here. Now, I haven't been in your life for this long, but
Right.
you have been in my life for a very long time.
Oh my goodness.
Because when I was growing up, when I was about 10 years old, I took dance class in New York City with a man who taught both of us dance and I don't know, did he teach you dance?
Yeah, he was the only. No, I had 2 tap teachers growing up. One of them retired, and then I took class from him for the rest of the time I was dancing.
Okay,
and
yeah.
he was the only person I would ever take tap from.
So Tommy Redder is his name, and he was from LA and then moved to New York to be in Billy Elliot on Broadway, and that's how I met him. And he would talk about you all the time. You were his star student.
Oh no!
Because that was around the time that True Jackson VP was airing,
Yeah.
and so it was oh my student from LA, she's in this Nickelodeon show, and I'm just so proud of her, and I love her so much.
Aw.
And so we would talk about you all the time. He would like help you with your music career.
He did. Yeah, he
write
was a big
songs.
part of like my first album that I released when I was 13. Oh my gosh.
My God.
Including the hits Pop Princess,
Yes.
Hot Topic.
Oh,
you know?
I remember those songs.
Yes.
Because he was like writing them, and then he'd be like, I just came up with this amazing thing for Ashley's song, and it went paparazzi kukaracha.
Oh, no.
Take a picture, then they got ya. And I was like,
What's funny
that's
is that
amazing.
what I was gonna say was like, don't look up the album, but then you know
Sorry,
the
I
album.
exposed you. I'm sorry.
You know the album
it's-
because
it's
you
on
listened to it.
repeat.
I'm so
It's on
sorry. Yeah, it's really funny. Tommy moved to New York for Billy Elliot.
Yeah.
But he got Billy Elliot the same week that I booked True Jackson. So
Oh,
this
I
like
didn't know
it was
that.
like a really like special experience. He booked like Billy Elliot, I think like the beginning of the week or something like that. And then later that week we were at a dance convention doing something at a dance convention, and he announced to all of the kids that I booked the show, and I hadn't booked the show yet. And I was so mortified.
Oh
I was
my
like,
gosh.
because he's so outgoing, and he's
Yes.
he's so vibrant.
Yes.
And he just was like, she just booked a show on Nickelodeon. And I was like,
No, I didn't.
oh, I did?
He is one of those people that's like, if he wants something, or if he wants something for someone else, he puts it out into the universe.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
He will like say exactly
Exactly
what you just
this.
said. Like,
Yeah.
you booked it. I know you booked it.
Yep.
And he's gonna like tell everyone
Yep.
so that it. But then that kind of it's good practice.
It worked.
It worked. Thank goodness it worked. Like the best manifestation ever. But like it was so terrifying. I think he did that on a Friday, and then I found out on Monday that I booked it. So it was like the most terrifying weekend because I
amazing.
didn't know if I got it, and also I was like, well, this whole group of kids thinks I just booked a show on Nickelodeon, so I'm like, I hope I got it, and then I ended up getting it, which was great. And of course I called him, and he was so excited.
So were you were like 13, or
I was 15 when I did True Jackson.
Okay,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
And how many years was that? 2 years?
It was like 2.5, 3 years.
That's
3
amazing.
seasons. Yeah, it was
I
cool.
loved that show.
Thank
that was one
you.
of the good like. It was. I actually felt, in terms of the Nickelodeon shows, that one felt a little bit more Disney than some of the other ones. In
Thanks,
that,
yeah.
like, you were following someone who was doing something a little bit out of the like realm of reality.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
So, the premise of the show, if there's anyone who hasn't watched True Jackson VP, which, hello.
Get on
Is
it.
it on Paramount Plus?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so KeKe Palmer
Yeah.
plays a girl who's, and you guys are best friends.
Yeah, we're best friends. She basically gets hired to be the vice president of youth fashion, youth apparel at this like huge fashion company.
Which is amazing. And so, like, it felt Disney in that way, where
Yeah.
it's like, that's not a real thing that could actually happen.
Yeah.
Same as, like, there will never be a pop star that lives a double life.
I was gonna say like Hannah Montana,
You know,
totally.
but
Yeah.
like the other, well, I mean,
You don't
but
know
also-
that.
Yeah. you, that's literally you. You are a
Yeah.
pop star.
Work.
They call it.
You ever heard of Olivia Rodrigo?
I was gonna say Lady Gaga.
Here I am.
In her spare time, they call her Lady
Hello.
Gaga.
Work.
Flip on the wig.
I love. Oh my gosh! It's so nice to meet you.
I guess maybe I'm talking out of my ass a little bit, because then they did a whole show about superheroes, but
Fair.
on Nickelodeon.
Also, wasn't iCarly about? like,
well, that was like a
viral
little
web
bit more
show?
realistic.
Yeah.
It was like
I
she had a
guess, yeah.
viral web show.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
You know?
Wait, but before you did Nickelodeon, I didn't know you were a tap dancer.
I was.
Oh my
I danced for
goodness.
like 10 years. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Was tap like your main thing?
It was the thing that I think I loved the most. I was very good at ballet, but
Okay.
I was also terrified, I think a lot of people are, of my ballet teacher.
Yeah. 100%.
Because that world is so regimented and it's so strict, and I knew I was very good at it, but my goodness, that teacher scared me. And Tommy was the opposite,
Right,
like
right.
complete opposite. He is so much fun. Did he ever do that thing to you during class where he'd be like, arms up? And then
Maybe.
he would like have us put our arms up, and then he'd like hold our hands and then basically take your feet out from under
Oh,
you, but
yes.
he'd like hold you.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
god.
Like a very dad thing. Like,
Yeah, it was
you know
a very
when-
dad
you know
thing.
when
It was
you're
so
like
fun.
walking, in the park with your parents, and they like pick you up. You're holding their like
Yeah.
babies, and you get picked up, kind of like that.
And like swung in the air a little bit, and then
No,
they like
you don't know that.
Not all of our parents loved us.
this guy got dark.
Kind of like that. That's what
Yeah, that's basically what it was. But I loved dance for a really, really long time, and Tommy was like a huge part of that, obviously.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It was really cool.
And so when did you start like acting? Was True Jackson like the first big thing, or were there some things before that?
I started acting around. Acting and singing started at like 5-ish, 6-ish years old.
Gosh.
I like mainly sang growing up. The first big thing that I booked was I did The Lion King on the touring company of The Lion King.
Cool.
Yeah,
True
I was
Jackson.
11. Yeah.
Wow.
So I got to tour for a little while,
you
which
were
was really
young
cool.
Nala?
I was young Nala. Yeah, good guess.
Well, I guess how many young girl characters?
It's
are there in
either
that
Simba
show?
or Nala.
Are you like a big theater kid?
Yeah, I am a big
Still to this
theater
day?
kid. Yes, I
my
feel like
gosh.
I'm not like super well versed in the world, but I do love it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was how I got started. I did community theater to get started.
Yeah.
So like I love it.
Did you
It's in
ever
my
live
bones.
in New York doing that kind of stuff?
I didn't do that. I lived in New York briefly because I went to NYU for nursing after I did True Jackson.
Okay. I think that is where I met you the first time.
Yes, I believe
Because-
I was there touring my school. I think that was it. Yeah.
All right. So I was like, I don't know, 12 or 13, probably 12. And yeah, I was taking classes with Tommy.
Yeah.
And you came to like visit and talk to all of us. And I have a picture I will show you, Jacob.
Yep.
And we'll show the audience.
Yep.
It's like on my Facebook of us.
Yep.
But yes, I remember that detail. That
Yeah.
you were like going to NYU for.
Yeah,
Did you graduate?
I did not. It was in the middle. Sadly, no. I really, really wanted to, but we did True Jackson, and then I did a show called Bucket and Skinner's Epic Adventures right after it.
Okay. Was that also Nickelodeon?
It was also Nickelodeon,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And then that was during my like gap year because I got accepted during True Jackson, and then I took a gap year, did Bucket and Skinner, and then we didn't know if we got picked up for another season or not. So I was like, I'm gonna go to school and like see what happens, and then there was a possibility it was going to get picked up, and they were like, we need you to help like come and promote it and like do stuff for it. And then I came back to LA, and it was kind of like I started working again. So
Right.
I just kept deferring and deferring and deferring. And then at one point it was just like,
Oh well.
I mean, what am I going to do? I gotta either like go to New York and do the whole thing, or I gotta work.
Have you pursued the nursing passion at all?
I haven't, but it's funny. I'll talk about it every once in a while, and I'm like, man, maybe I should have gone for it. Yeah. My mom was a nurse, so I grew up like I'm very comfortable in hospitals. I'm very comfortable at the doctor's office. I'm not afraid of shots. I'm not like queasy around blood or anything. Like
That's a superpower.
Yeah, like it's when I gave birth, like I was in the hospital and I was chilling. I was like totally fine.
I know that's like a mom super. You're gonna you're already, I'm sure, a great mom, but like you have so many surprises ahead of you that I'm sure you will like.
They were
rise
like
to the challenge.
They would give my son shots at the hospital and stuff, and I was like, they would prep you for it, and I was like, it's fine. Like you're gonna give him a shot. He's gonna cry for a minute, and then it's gonna be fine. So I've just always been very comfortable around it. I wanted to be a heart surgeon. That was like the ultimate goal. I know.
Wow.
Whoa.
But we know that school process is like years and years and years. But I was like, I love acting, and I like that is my number one passion in life.
Totally.
So when I had the choice, it was like I could go to school for 20,000 years, or I could go home and like go act and like do what I love, and that ended up winning.
I love that. I mean, I was gonna say that Larry can't even watch like a medical show on TV. Like,
not even.
Really?
I'm not having it.
Oh no!
No blood allowed in his
No
viewing
blood
experience.
allowed. No.
So,
Anything,
Oh my gosh.
Any shows, even if they're amazing shows, like if there's like blood or gore.
How do you do it at a doctor's
just can't do
office? Is it?
I'm okay with like getting shots. Like
Sure.
I usually just kind of look away.
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, I haven't had a lot of experiences where like I have to like see my own blood.
Okay, good.
When
That's
I got
good.
my wisdom teeth out, though, I was like anxiety, like out the wazoo, because I was so nervous about. I'd never been like put to sleep.
Oof,
I
yeah.
needed, like the general anesthesia, and then I was nervous about like getting nerve damage. I just like I don't know, worked myself up because that's like it's like a 0.6% chance that could happen with
and you're falling asleep and you're like, what if I'm the point?
Yeah.
Exactly, literally.
I get it.
So, but most of the time I'm fine.
Good. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But good for you.
Thanks.
Got all these passions.
Yeah, I was really passionate about it, and I still love it. Like I feel like every time I'll like audition for like a Grey's Anatomy or any kind of like medical thing, and I'm like, I'm in my bag right now.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
so good.
Hello, what are we doing here? Get her on a medical show.
Listen, Grey's Anatomy, call me.
You should have been on St. Dennis Medical.
Oh my gosh, The Dream. I love that show. It's so
Yeah,
good. I'm so sorry.
okay.
It's so good.
No, we love
We
that
love
show.
it.
Yeah, it's so good.
We watch every episode. Do you
We
have a
just
favorite-
started it and I'm obsessed with it.
Do you have a favorite character?
Oh man, who does she play? I know her because we did Austin and Ally together. She's the Asian girl on the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember that character.
I can't remember the
I
character's
don't
name.
remember a lot of the characters' names
But
on that show.
I want to say Selena is the character.
Or Serena?
Serena.
Or something.
Yeah,
Serena
yeah.
Is the character.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
fantastic. I love her in the show, but I also like she's such a nice person. We worked together, and I
was she
I love her.
a child actor as well?
I don't.
Or was she
I
older?
don't know if she was a child actor. I think we were like 18, 19 when we did the show, when we did
Okay,
Austin and
cool.
Ally, but like she was so funny on Austin and Ally. We had so much fun together. We were in the Glee Club episode basically. And and she was just so great. So when we turned on the pilot and she was on the show, it was like I was so surprised and also so thrilled for her, and she's just
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
That's
she's great.
amazing.
Wait, so you were the thing I know you from, okay, is The Foster.
Work, okay? I'm like, woo, what are you gonna say?
Because where some kids were watching like Nickelodeon
I know.
and Disney Channel and all that stuff, I was there like riveted to teen drama.
Oh my gosh, of course.
Family dramas falling apart, all
love
of it. Love The Foster. You were
Thank you.
transcendent.
Thank you.
What was that experience like doing The Fosters?
It was so fun. It was really nerve-wracking because it was kind of the first thing I did outside of Nickelodeon or Disney that it was like
Right.
serious
Yeah.
work, for lack of a better term, you know. I remember going in and my agent being like, this casting director doesn't see a lot of like Disney and Nick kids, so you know, make sure you go in and like you're not that kid anymore. And
Yeah.
but that's, you know, after you get off of those shows, it's kind of what most people want, is like, I just want to be seen as not a child actor anymore,
Yeah.
right? So it was a little nerve-wracking. They had me do a couple pages of sides. They like changed all the names in it, so I didn't know the storyline. But I like went it into the sides, and then I sang "Rolling in the Deep," I think it was.
Okay.
And then before I left, they said, "Do you know how to play the guitar?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." And then I booked the job, and then my first day on set, they handed me a bass, and I was like,
Different.
Different instrument.
I don't know how to do this. And they were like, fake it. I was like, cool, got it. So I faked it the entire time.
Love it.
I asked somebody what to do, and they were like, just look really bored. I was like,
Yeah. You gotta have like a scowl. as you're
yeah,
doing it.
yeah, which like fit with the character, so it was
Yeah.
fine. But it was a great experience. I like knew a few people on the show just through like mutual friends and stuff like that. So it was great to get a chance to like get to know everybody and like work with them. And I loved the show because it felt like such an important show when we were doing it. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So it was really cool to be a part of that experience. Like I had a great time.
It was like This Is Us before This Is Us.
Yeah,
It was
very
show,
true.
On the
you know?
CW?
Very true.
Or was it?
No,
It was on
the
ABC Family.
Oh, okay.
Freeform, sorry.
Freeform, yes. But ABC Family
We
at the
love you,
time.
Freeform.
Yeah. yes. At the time. Yes. It was great.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I think like that doing your first thing outside of like a kid show can be like really scary for a lot of
It was.
people. Like we know a lot of people who have like done the Disney or Nickelodeon gambit and
Yeah.
then like moved into like, you know, not kids.
Yeah.
And like how did you feel making that transition? Like what was that like? Because it's like it really is kind of like a different beast, you know? Like
Yeah.
they're both scripted, but it's a lot different.
It really is a lot different. I feel like I finished Bucket and Skinner. I went to school and then I came back and like just kept auditioning. I feel like I didn't book anything for a couple of years, or like I booked like really, really small things. Because it was really hard to just be seen as not Lulu or not Kelly or like nothing on Nickelodeon or Disney. And when I was doing The Fosters, I was still working on a Disney show. I was guest starring on Lab Rats at the same time. So
Okay. Yeah.
it was like code
Yeah.
switching all the time.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different style of
yeah,
acting.
it's-
Like, and when you're doing those like Disney Nickelodeon shows, like it becomes ingrained.
Yeah.
That like you have to do the over the top thing all the time.
Yeah.
And there's really only one application for it, and it's
It's just that, yeah.
But anyway.
No, yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. So going from like a set like Lab Rats and then the next day going to do The Fosters was so wild because I felt, for me personally, it felt like doing something that wasn't Disney or Nickelodeon. Felt so like I was doing nothing on camera, and it took a lot of reminding that like the camera can catch like the camera's this close to your face, so it'll catch everything. So if you just if you're just feeling it and you just say what you're supposed to say and like don't make it broad, don't make it big, don't perform to the back of the room, then it's gonna be fine. But for so long, I feel like especially on the Fosters, because it was my first thing out, I'll watch it back and be like, oh wow, when I did that, it felt like I was giving absolutely nothing to my scene partner, but it comes off on camera totally different. So it was a great experience, and it was a big learning experience for me. Now I'm far removed from my Nickelodeon and Disney days, so I can kind of when I'm auditioning for a sitcom, then I can kind of lock back into it, and then when I'm auditioning for something that's not, I'm totally fine now. But the Fosters was a huge learning experience for me, for sure.
Was now this show's famously on this show we do extraordinarily minimal research on our guests. That's amazing. And I'm about to ask you a question that will show exactly that.
Great.
So True Jackson VP, was that a multicam sitcom?
It was. It was. Famously, KeKe does say at the beginning of every episode, True Jackson VP was filmed in front of a live studio audience.
She does say
Oh my God. And was it?
It was.
So you had a live audience every time.
We had a live audience every Friday. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was so fun, but it felt like theater, and I started in theater, so it was really cool because we would just rehearse for the beginning of the week and like get our changes and block the whole thing, and then we would shoot some of it beforehand, but anything we could shoot in front of the audience we did, and it just felt like this really cool theater show we got to do every single week.
That's amazing. Because they don't tell you this, kids, but sometimes with those, especially with the kids shows, they're not always live in front of a live audience.
Like iCarly had the laugh track to it, but that was not filmed in front of a live audience.
Like,
and
not ever.
At least I did an episode of it before I was on True Jackson, like a very small role on it, and and that wasn't in front of an audience. I don't know if they ever went in front of an audience, but at least during my time there,
I don't think they did.
I'm not sure. I know it's weird. Like, it's not about like the network or anything like that. It's like sometimes, like we have a friend that works on a Disney show. I don't want to we talked about her, but I don't want to spoil it. I guess I just did. But, it's like 50-50 whether they'll shoot in front of an audience. Like some episodes they do an audience episode, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah,
but it's amazing that you guys did every single episode.
Yeah, I mean, I think besides there might have been like a couple that were too complicated to shoot in front of an episode, but for the most part, we had an audience every single time, and it was awesome. We had like the best time ever.
That's what every actor says, like that is the best thing when doing a sitcom in front of an audience.
It really is, because one, we were kids, so like we got to invite our friends to tapings and stuff like that, so it was a really like fun way to have them, and it's free.
They don't have to pay.
Exactly. And like to see, I think the coolest part was to see the fan response almost in real time. So like when we shot the pilot, people were just so excited for KeKe because she was such a star before we even did True Jackson VP.
I mean, hello.
I mean,
what did she do before?
Akeelah and the Bee was, and she did a Tyler Perry movie as well.
Okay. I didn't know those were before.
Yeah, like when I met her at the network testing, I was like, oh my God, Akeelah is here. And I had no idea that she was she was in for True. I was like, wait, I'm working with her? That's so cool.
I remember she was in a Disney movie called Jump In with Corbin Bleu about Double Dutch. Was that before as well, or was that during?
I think it was before.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
I thought that True Jackson VP was like the thing that put her on the map.
I think Akeelah put her on the map, but it was... Akeelah was a little bit more geared toward adults, I think. But I think... True definitely like shone an even brighter light on her, and people got to see, because Akeelah was so different. It was so dramatic, and I think KeKe is just so naturally funny, I feel like, as the world now knows.
Yeah.
But I think it just shined a light on that specifically, and she was brilliant in the show. She's so hilarious, and it like keeping up with her was so wild just because she is so good at what she does. It just, I feel like, made everybody around her better actors as well. Like, she was so fantastic. Yeah.
Would you have any like moments that you remember of like special things that you guys did together? Because you guys played best friends.
Yeah, we did. We had a lot of time in school together. We were 15 when we started the show, so we spent all of our time in school and then all of our time on set.
School.
Yeah, we were in set school. the guy that played Ryan on the show, Matt Shively, he turned 18 the day we started shooting the show, so he never had to be in school with us.
Wow.
So rude. But I don't know. I feel like I have so many memories. The one that's coming to mind right now for some reason is the handshake that we did together in the first episode. Like, she came up with the handshake, and it was just so like silly and fun. And I don't remember why, but I do remember that the network wanted to cut the handshake for some reason, and she was like, she advocated for it. She was like, they're best friends. Like, this would they would absolutely do something like this. It's so cute. Like, we have to do this. So like, just little things like that. She just was so amazing to work with, and her mom was on set with us all the time too, and her mom was really incredible to work with too. So I'm like so thrilled for all of her success. Like, Nope was one of the best movies ever. Like, it was so good. You couldn't watch it. That's okay. That's okay. Know that she was amazing.
I know it's so good. We did see her newest movie, One of Them Days.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's really funny. It's
okay,
really
good.
funny.
Yeah,
she's so good in it.
Yeah.
It's amazing that at 15, like, she was able to have this like gravitas on set and like advocate. I'm sure that was like amazing to learn from. Yeah,
she was just already such a pro when we were on set together, which is wild to say about somebody who's 15 years old, but she really was. And I think she would agree with this. Her parents were incredible with her. Like, her parents were really, really amazing. And I think we can all agree, like, it definitely starts at the top of the call sheet. Like, if that number one on the call sheet is kind, respectful, hardworking, and like all of the things, that trickles down to every single person on set. And that was absolutely apparent in KeKe. Like, she was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So another person that was on that show, when I was younger, my dad would watch Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yes.
And Greg Proops, right? I couldn't remember if it was Greg or Jeff. But when I got a little older, I would watch
Whose Line
a lot.
It's one of my favorite shows ever.
Oh my god, that was the boss on True Jackson VP, and he's like such an amazing improv comedian.
I just saw him 2 weeks ago. He did a stand-up show in Burbank, and I took my husband on a date, and like we went.
So you guys still keep in touch?
Yeah, definitely. He is. That's so funny that you bring him. I feel like nobody asks me about Greg, and I'm so close to Greg. I love it.
You know, I'm in a group at UCB, so I'm kind of like in the comedy world. I'm not really an improviser.
Right.
I do more like sketch, but I just loved Whose Line Is It Anyway? And he was a very frequent guest.
Yeah.
And I just remember. The other thing was that my mom loved Project Runway. So she would so when True Jackson VP was on, I'm like, I know,
I'm trying to
all the
connect dots here.
I'll explain. She loved Project Runway. So when True Jackson VP was on, she was like, oh, the boss character, he's kind of like an Isaac Mizrahi type.
Work. Okay,
like, you know
great.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Definitely like, you know, and I was like, who's Isaac Mizrahi? And then there was, I mean, I was like 12, whatever. So then, so there was like a whole conversation.
He makes the best Hanukkah candles, by the way.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, we used the Isaac Mizrahi Hanukkah candles this year. We love you, Isaac Mizrahi. Anyway, so, but yeah, and so he just always stuck out to me because I like had that conversation with my mom. You know, like
absolutely.
Like, on my end, it was a thing.
Yeah.
And he's just such a great.
He's incredible. He's so incredible. I was equally as excited about KeKe as I was about Greg, 100%, because I loved Whose Line growing up. I feel like totally inappropriate for me to be watching as a kid, but like I watched it all the time. I loved that show.
The show wasn't that inappropriate. It was more the bloopers.
Yes, the bloopers were so inappropriate, but also my favorite part of Whose Line. He played our boss in the show, and I don't know how or why we connected so quickly, but we absolutely did.
Yeah.
He is really, I think, the smartest person I know. Like, genuinely. His book is literally called Smartest Man in the World. And I remember I would bring like the books that I was reading in class, like downstairs, because I would like work on homework sometimes while we were filming, or like when I had breaks and stuff like that. And he would just come over and like strike up a conversation about Shakespeare, like strike up a conversation about why this book was as important as this book and what this meant. And he just is like this deep well of knowledge.
Wow.
And so I feel like it started with like just school in general because he was just so helpful in so many ways. But he's also incredibly well traveled, and he would the first time I went out of the country, I think, was like 8 years ago, something like that. So he is so well traveled, and he would tell me stories about him traveling and like Who's Line stories and all this kind of stuff. So we became really, really close, and I've kept in touch with him all these years. And I just saw like he never does shows here in LA. So when he was in LA,
does he not live here?
He does live here, but he's always traveling with Who's Line. They do it live now. Like they call it Who's Live isn't anyway. Yeah.
I didn't know that. So it's still with like Ryan Stiles.
They do it sometimes. So like it's that cast of characters, but like they just switch out depending on what city they're going to.
Because he was kind of like a sub,
yes,
or a guest.
Yeah, it was always Ryan, Colin, Wayne, and then the guest.
Yeah, Wayne Brady. I mean, come on, Wayne Brady,
who comes up with these songs. Like I don't understand who does that. I don't understand how that's possible.
I know, and a lot of my friends are musical improvisers, and it's just like crazy.
That nothing would bring me more stress.
Yeah. It's crazy. We had a guest that's like a musical improviser.
Yes, that's wild.
And had a whole conversation with her about it. And we actually played a musical improv game on the podcast.
I would have passed away.
Jacob was great at it.
Nice.
I was terrible. Terrible.
Oh
no. A lot of my comedy stuff is improv, so that's like kind of, my comfort zone.
Yeah, not mine.
You were quaking.
Yeah, not mine.
Yeah, that brings me a lot of stress. Anyway, Greg is incredible and lovely, and I thank you for asking about him, because I was very, very close to him during the show and still am, and it's good to see he's still doing improv, he's still doing stand-up, and he's still hilarious.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, he's awesome.
All right, we'll take a little break and we'll be right back. More with Ashley Argota right after this.
And we're back.
So the thing about us, and we've said this on the podcast before, is that when we see normal celebrities, we don't usually freak out that much.
Right.
But there's certain people in our world that we just absolutely love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like listen, I've worked with like Glenn Close. I was a producer on Drag Race. I've worked with like every celebrity under the sun, right? I like will not bat an eye at those people. Like great,
right?
Like, welcome, hello. But like, you get Stockard Channing in a room. You
better work Stockard Channing. Yes.
Like I would be like freaking out completely, and that is like completely our vibe.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
absolutely.
So Greg Proops is one of those people because it's like I'm just so always attracted, to the talent.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I just love we just talked about this in the last episode, but we just met Tom Kenny.
Yes.
I love him. Yeah, he's great.
And he's like, I think gives a similar vibe to what you were saying. He's like the smartest person you'll ever be.
Yeah.
Like, so knows everything about everything. Yep. So passionate about like what he does, and it's just
incredibly kind.
So kind, and like that kind of stuff is just so amazing and something to like really strive to be. Like,
did he do the SpongeBob voice for you in real life?
He did not, because we didn't want to ask him, but
he would have done it. He does it all the time.
We were going out, like one of our friends is in his band.
Oh, great.
And like they were going to go out together, and she invited us to come, so we were like, sure. And then of course she didn't show up, so it was just us. It was just us and Tom Kenny, hanging out the whole night.
That's wild.
I know. But his like regular voice, you can hear it.
100%.
Like, you can hear it.
He'll go into it sometimes. It's like up in the back. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He taught us how to do the laugh. I can't do it for anything, but he literally, it's like a physical thing. He has to like, do this with his throat. It's so cool. He's like, that's an awesome guest. He is fantastic.
I know.
Yeah. Wait, so I'm just thinking about that. You knew Tom Kenny from
being on Nickelodeon.
Yeah. So we've talked with past. We have people like Jason Earls, who have done like the Disney Channel games. How much were the Nickelodeon stars like interacting? Like, what was that like?
We did Worldwide Day of Play every year. So that was kind of like our our, I guess, Disney Channel games, like the Nickelodeon version. Although we did laugh because the whole point of Worldwide Day of Play was like to encourage kids to get out and play. But we would literally be like, you're giving viewers to the Disney Channel. Like, you're turning off the network, and Disney's now like, hello, everybody who wants to watch TV. Now we're going to have a TV show.
Yeah, like, what wasn't it that, like, there was nothing on all day?
Yeah, it's literally, we would do this, like, big event. Like, one year it was on the front lawn of the White House. So, like,
with Michelle Obama.
With Michelle Obama. It was really cool.
this.
Yeah, it was really cool. Fun fact, KeKe went to one of the inaugural balls during the Obama administration and met Michelle and the kids, and they watched True Jackson VP and said that I was their favorite character. I was like,
Malia and Sasha, honey. You got that.
Yeah, KeKe announced that. She came back from DC and announced it at a table read, and I like fell out of my chair. I was like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah.
And I remember they only got like a very limited amount of TV time, and we were like part of their TV time, which was like I'm to this day like I'll take that forever and ever and ever.
Michelle is like, you know, it's just amazing to have a show that shows that you can be a strong woman CEO, like something like that. Something like that.
Exactly
I'm
that.
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was really, really cool. But we did run my Day of Play. It was always some like big kickoff event. So we would always see each other during those kinds of things. And then I want to say like once a year we would do a big promo shoot as well. We started doing, they brought a lot of the game shows from Nickelodeon back. So we did Brain Surge, which I don't think was one they brought back. I think that was a newer one.
Okay.
Which was really difficult. Man, that show was hard.
I think I have a weird memory of that.
Yeah, if you lose a round, you go down the brain drain, which is a giant ear.
You go down a giant ear.
Yeah, it's a giant ear full of foam.
I remember this.
So, which sounds fun, but there's like a photo of me somewhere like trying to get the foam out of my eye because you don't realize that it just keeps going as you go down the brain drain. So then by the time you get down there, you're just covered and you can't breathe. Like it's so wild. So we would do those games. We did Brain Surge and we did Figure It Out, which they did bring back, which was such a fun game show to do. So we would see each other during those. So I would say like a full Nickelodeon, like big promo thing with everybody. Probably we probably did 3 or 4 of those a year, which was super fun. But
Nice.
iCarly shot down the road from us, so we were able to kind of go to that side, and also Victoria shot down the road. So we saw each other not a ton because we were all working so much, but like as much as we could.
Yeah.
Right.
It was we were all in each other's universes, and Big Time Rush shot in the next stages over, so we got to see them all the time.
Wait, where were you shooting?
We shot at Paramount
Oh.
on stage 25 where
Wow.
they did
That's
Cheers
amazing.
and Frasier.
On the lawn.
Yeah.
In the literal stage where
Yeah.
they did Cheers and Frasier.
Yeah, stage 25. It was
That's
really cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
See, that's the kind of thing that you're our first Nickelodeon like star guest. Actually, everyone else, in that universe up to this point has been Disney.
Oh,
right?
boy, yeah.
Am I right?
This is true, I
Yeah.
think.
It's really interesting because in the Disney universe, like, I mean, we filmed in Utah, so it was like a different
Right.
thing. But everything is kind of like in the Disney like bubble, like where everything was like Disney branded.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because Nickelodeon is owned by Paramount.
Yeah.
So you guys were filming like at the Paramount lot. Which is, like,
Yeah.
I mean, the Disney lot's like historic and awesome, but like the Paramount lot is the Paramount lot.
The Paramount lot's amazing. Yeah.
The Disney shows don't even film at
No,
the
they
Disney
don't.
lot
No,
anymore.
they
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We
and
know
they
one.
didn't then either.
Yeah.
We know one going right now that is filming like above Santa Clarita. Like
Yes. I know. There's a new studio down there, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why are you making people drive all the way
Yeah,
over
so
there?
it's
No.
unbelievably
Yeah.
far.
Yeah. It's really far. I don't know. We got really lucky. I know the Thundermans also shot in the same stage that we did, which was
cool.
really cool. So
Amazing.
like, we've used Paramount a few times. We shot Figure It Out there as well, the game show. But like, I feel like people would say that all the time. I think iCarly and Victoria shot at Nickelodeon, like at Nick on Sunset when there was still a Nick on Sunset.
Okay.
Yes, I've heard about that.
yeah.
But I think it was gone before
Yeah,
my
it's
time in LA.
it was a really cool studio. It was haunted. KeKe and I went to go
Work.
meet the ghost at Nick on Sunset one day. It was
Is that
incredibly
where
scary.
in iCarly they have a whole storyline about? Do you know they go to, because the show takes place in Seattle,
Right.
They go to LA to find like the head of one of this like TV networks,
Uh-huh.
and there's like a story that the frozen head of the guy is like in the studio, and that's like in the episode. And
I
they, like,
thought
make it a
that
whole
was a
thing.
Disney
I guess
story.
that is a Disney story.
Because isn't the rumor that
that Walt
Disney-
isn't the
Disney's
lore
frozen
that Walt
head.
Disney is frozen? Yeah.
Yeah. I
Wait,
guess.
tell me about the ghost.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Anyway.
First of all, do you believe in ghosts?
I didn't until then.
Oh my goodness.
There was an experience.
You had a paranormal experience.
A little. It was really crazy. The iCarly kids would tell us like, no, like weird things happen in this studio sometimes, and we were like, all right. So we went with our studio teacher, me and KeKe, and our studio teacher. And they were like, yeah, he's up in the rafters, and his name was Clarence, and. Our studio teacher, I just remember like we didn't fully go all the way into the rafters, but like we were kind of standing at the door, and we walked in a little bit, and she just kept going, Clarence, if you're here, like, show us a sign. And then it sounded like something, I swear to God, jumped in front of us, like on the rafters in front of us. And when I tell you we scattered, we said goodbye. We
goodness.
booked it. And then I feel like we went back, and Miss Joanne was like, I'm going to knock. Like, if you can hear us, knock back. And we got a knock. Like, she knocked on the thing, and then it sounded like the knock was coming from. Here's the thing. If the knocks were coming from, or if that big jump had sounded like it was far from us, then I would have been like, somebody screwing around over there,
Right.
But it was the fact that jump was right in front of like me that we were kind of
my
like,
God.
oh no, like this is not okay. So we did those two things, and then we were like, oh, okay, bye. Thank you so much, Clarence. So I believe. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Wait, what is the Nick on Sunset building now?
I don't know what it is. I don't think it's a studio anymore, if I'm not mistaken.
So it was like torn down?
Where was it?
Maybe it was on Sunset. Yeah, on
Sunset and what? Like Sunset and what?
Oh man, it was Sunset and not Van Ness, because that's where the other studio is, right? Like there's one studio there.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
like just a few blocks down from that.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was a really cool studio. They did all that there, and like all the like nostalgic Nickelodeon shows were shot there.
Drake
so it
and
was really
Josh,
cool.
whatever.
Yeah, so when they said it was going to be no longer, we were like, why?
Yeah,
so
that's
we
so
love
sad.
Nick on
Who's the
Sunset.
ghost?
Maybe it was Clarence.
Yeah.
It was Clarence the ghost.
I guess now
Damn you,
Clarence,
Clarence.
has been set free
I guess
home.
is that what he needed? He was just like, I
Maybe.
need these shows to stop shooting here. Like, leave me alone. And
He was
then
like,
he
I
was
can't
like,
with the fake laugh tracks.
that's what it was. It's because they didn't have a live studio audience. That's what it was. Clarence was upset.
Clarence's house is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't really believe in ghosts until that happened, and I was like, maybe they're real, because
Oh.
that's crazy.
Definitely real.
Yeah.
Real. We've on this show we've had a lot of guests talk about paranormal experiences.
Why did I think you were gonna say on this show we've had a lot of ghosts around here?
Well,
I was
that
like,
too. No.
Ghost guess.
ghost guests. I mean, people have stories about it, and
Yeah.
they're when it happens to you, it's kind of hard to dispute.
Yeah, totally.
We've had a lot of ghosts on this show. I mean, the ghost of Betty White was here.
Oh my gosh, congrats. Huge get.
It was a big
She was
get
with
for
us.
us.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Okay, so what are you up to now? Like what does your life look like now? What's going on?
Oh, so many things. I had a baby last year.
I know.
I must be the
Congratulations.
first to say publicly,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. He just turned 9 months a little bit
Wow.
ago, which is so crazy. So he's been like out in the world for as long as he was in my tummy, which was so
Yeah.
crazy. So that was the big like thing for last year. And then while I was pregnant, we wrote and produced, and then now it is shot. So we did a movie together, me and my husband. Which,
Wow, a feature? Like-
yeah, we did a feature. We've
Whoa.
had a production company for a few years, and we started with a podcast just so
Yeah.
people could like kind of get used to us working together. And then during the pandemic, we wrote a script kind of just about my life and like my like really complicated relationship with my mom growing up. And then it won an award, which was awesome.
Wow,
and we went to
okay.
New York and had a table read for it. One of the actors in True Jackson, the guy that played Ryan, we wrote a part for him, and he flew himself out to New York and like did the table read with us. It was incredible. Like we had such a great time. Yeah. And then thank you. The writer's strike happened a week after that.
Yes, of course.
So like all of the momentum that we had kind of like was at a standstill, and then we just kind of decided, that's a bigger movie to do, so let's write something that's easy to make. So it's literally one night, one location, 2 actors.
Fabulous.
And we were like, we come from the theater world, both me and my husband. Yeah. So he was like, let's write it like a play, and like let's try it. And one of my closest friends directed it and also let us use her house. I also got married in her house, which Marissa, if you're watching this, I love you. Thank you. And because you're a huge musical theater person, she is the original Tracy Turnblad in Hairspray.
No
Hello.
way. Oh my goodness. Like on Broadway?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Her Tony is sitting in in her house.
Work.
That's amazing.
I see it every time I go over. Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
That's so
she's awesome.
cool.
Yes. But this is her film directorial debut. So like she's directed me in a few musicals when Rockwell Table and Stage was still around here in LA.
Oh yes, I know about Rockwell.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. We did the unauthorized musical parody of Bridesmaids, and she directed me in that. We did a Hocus Pocus together, which was so much fun. But
a friend of mine was in the It one. There was that one, and that one I think was really big, right?
Yeah, it was huge, and they went to New York with it.
Yeah.
Who do you know?
Her name is Gwen Hollander.
I love Gwen.
You know her?
She's the best.
Gwen Hollander?
She has the voice of an angel.
Yeah, she's in my comedy group.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Please
We
tell her I said hi.
We just at her place literally 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Gwen and Ben are the best.
Oh
Ben did Hocus Pocus with us as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that there was a connection.
Yeah. That's
amazing.
wild.
Of our show, you can see Ben in the Casa Bonita documentary.
Yes,
that's
oh
on
my
Paramount.
God, of course.
Yes.
He's the creative director for
at Casa Bonita in Colorado.
They're like power couple AF. Like they're so great. I love them.
Huge Broadway family. Amazing.
Absolutely. So he's done shows with Marissa too. Like we all know each other very, very well. That Rockwell family, even though Rockwell is not here anymore, like it's still all very close, still very strong. The person that produced it is also another person I did Hocus Pocus with at Rockwell. So like we kind of just turned our attention to production, and it was really cool. We produced our first feature film, which felt insane with the baby. But a lot of it was because a lot of people were like, oh, so you're gonna stop acting then, like now that you're having a baby? And I was like, it's 2024.
Yeah, seriously.
What's going on?
Get it together.
Yeah. So a lot of it was because I wanted to do a feature film, and I love working with my husband, so like of course we wanted to do that. But also I'm kind of petty, and I wanted to do everybody wrong.
But you did it the absolute right way too. Like
Thanks,
starting with a 2-person,
Yeah.
one location with all your friends, people that you already love working with. Like that is the absolute right way to like start that journey.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really scary. There were a lot of times that we were like, maybe we shouldn't do this. Like maybe we should push it. Like maybe when he's a little older we shoot it. But I was like, I think we just got to keep going. I think if we just get ourselves to production, I think it'll just work itself out. And it ended up working itself out. So now it's in post, and we're hoping to have something out by like next year. Yeah.
That is
really
fabulous.
excited.
What is it called?
It's called Bali High.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, again, musical theater nerd. It's about a husband and a wife. They just got married, and they're going on their honeymoon to Bali. And the weed laws are very strict in Bali. And he accidentally throws a container of edibles in her bag, and she gets arrested when she goes to Bali. So the whole thing takes place the night that she returns from Bali after being in prison for 4 months because of him.
Oh, word.
Oh,
yeah.
My goodness. That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Do you watch The White Lotus?
We do.
Okay.
Yes.
On the most recent episode, they're in Thailand, and he like goes, or like this was last week's episode.
Yep.
He goes to like a weed dispensary.
He sure does.
I'm like, there's no weed dispensaries
that-
in
is
There's
that
no
real?
Thailand.
weed in Bali. Listen, there are there ways to get drugs in Bali? Absolutely, probably yes.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that the weed laws are strict in
Yeah.
Bali because it happened to like a friend of a friend of a friend of ours.
Yeah.
So like we know.
Yeah.
But I said the same thing. I saw that he went to a dispensary, and I was like, now hold on a minute.
Yeah, there's no
No,
it's
wait.
Unrealistic.
hard to believe.
The other thing, I was going off about this one too.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah, you were.
Was when she got bit by the snake. I'm like, she got bit by. I'm like, And she was in the hotel that night fine. I was like, do you
Absolutely
know
not.
anything about venomous snakes?
Absolutely
and
not.
How anti-venom works
Yeah.
and how expensive it is.
And she was totally fine, like walking
she's
around
like-
like nothing ever happened. I was
oh my
like,
God,
girl,
I got bit by a snake today. I'm like, excuse me.
not the impression.
I'm like, not you think you got bit by a snake. You got bit by a boa constrictor and are fine. I could not
cobra.
believe my ears.
Yeah. Totally
Oh my
get it.
God.
Totally get it. Yeah.
Those two minor inaccuracies really.
It really got us.
Really grinded
I'm
my
still
gears.
tuning in next week.
Yeah,
But
of
like it
course,
really
of
got us.
course.
Yeah.
You have to. You have
Oh
to.
my
It's the
God,
White
we will be
Lotus.
in front of that TV.
Oh yeah,
on
100%.
Sunday, honey.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. It's right now. It's Severance and The White Lotus. So like those are the two
Yeah.
that I'm
You
watching.
can't watch
Absolutely.
Severance. It's
Really?
the
Why
blood.
not? Oh.
Wait, I didn't even know it was bloody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't have
They
the
open
Apple
up his
TV.
head sometimes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They
I'd
do.
be okay with that if
Yeah.
it's like science fiction-y.
yeah.
It's like this much of the show.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's more like shows that are
supposed
like
to be
The
our
Boys.
world. It's like kind of like a cult company, basically. is
Got
what it's
it.
about.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Are you loving this season?
Of Severance?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
me too.
love it.
It's been so good. My favorite thing with this show is this is one where you're like, what's gonna happen?
100%.
Like I have no idea where this is going.
And I love that because I think as actors, like a lot of the time I feel like I watch something and I'm focused on like, oh my gosh, how did they get that shot? Or like, that must have been really expensive. Now that I've
Yeah.
produced something,
Yeah.
I'm like, that must have been really expensive. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like, I'm always thinking of the process behind it. So if I can watch a show and it like has me so hooked that I'm not thinking about that, then like, I think that show is really good. And Severance is definitely one of those shows because I never know what's coming next on Severance.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's
It's
a crazy
fantastic.
one.
It's
a
so
crazy
good.
season.
And there's only 2 episodes left of it. So I'm like,
I know. The only
Yikes.
thing I was annoyed about, I'm like, do we need 3 vignette episodes in the season? I'm like,
I
come on.
mean, I know.
Keep it
When is
moving.
he gonna wake up and
100%. I keep telling Mick, I'm like, I
we get back
think
to the
this is going to be really important, like in like the season finale or something like that.
Right.
So I was like, we just have to like get through these episodes, which are very interesting, but also like you just want to see what else happens in the
know.
story. So like we just have to get through this, and then everything will make sense.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
totally.
I just want to see the main story, and
Yeah.
I have a feeling this week it's
Yeah,
gonna.
I think so
it's
too.
Coming back. Anyway, that was such a tangent.
No, that's
Sorry.
How do you love motherhood?
I was literally gonna say, how's mom life?
yeah.
Mom life is amazing. Our son is awesome. We have so much fun with him. It has, I mean, everything is for him now.
Right.
Like everything is for him. Even doing the movie was very much like, you know, the part of the reason we didn't stop was I didn't want him to like hear about this time of life and hear like, oh, well, mommy and daddy like had to push all of their hopes and dreams back because of me, or like didn't go after what they wanted because I was born.
Right.
And I was like, I don't want him to know that. I want him to know that we persevered and like we worked really hard and accomplished something really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, everything is for him. Like he's so great. He started crawling a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
If you're a parent, you know what an insane thing that is. We're frantically baby proofing our house. And he's also like starting to stand on his own now, which is so crazy. Like I feel like it
Crazy.
happened so fast.
Yeah.
He literally went from like, I used to call him a potato. Like he literally just like sat there and did nothing. And then now he's, I mean, you put him on the ground and he's like across the room already. It's so crazy. And he loves sport. We're huge sports fans in our family, so he loves watching sports with us. My husband is in like a really small basketball league, and we went to go see him play basketball yesterday. And my son like will just sit there, and he's just so enamored with all of it. But it's been incredible and really eye-opening, and I feel like I have a really small community of moms that I can turn to and that I know and who are really helpful and just supportive. And I have learned how important that is. Like I keep my circle very, very small. And I feel like learning now that like with motherhood, the more the merrier. Like we all, it's just that there's so many things that I feel like aren't talked about a lot in motherhood. I'll say specifically with like the postpartum journey, it's people talk about the birth and like, you know, the sleep of it all and all that stuff. But there are so many other things that could be talked about that aren't talked about. So to have mom friends who I can turn to and ask questions about that kind of stuff is really helpful. So it's been amazing. And my husband is like dad of the year. He's so involved, and like there is no like begging him to take the baby so I can have a break. Like he loves spending time with that baby. And like he will spend every waking, like my son is with him right now and I know they're having a great time, like which is amazing. Like I don't have to there's no worry, there's no anxiety about that. Like my husband's got him, and it's been incredible. It's what we've always wanted. We always wanted a kid, a few kids, so you know we're just so happy and thrilled.
Well, you sound like the best mom ever.
Oh my gosh, thanks. I'm trying.
By the way, how crazy is it that like there's things that are not talked about in like motherhood, that it's like hello, it's like being a mom is like one of the most common things in the world. Yet
Literally
there's
in the
things that we
world.
don't talk about.
Like
that's crazy.
Like nobody told me I was gonna lose my hair.
What?
Surprise. Yeah.
Okay, this is your next feature.
Right? They actually, oh my gosh, Ilana Glazer did a movie, and I'm blanking on the name of it right now, but it came out like right around the time I had my son last year. But she did a movie about having a
Yeah.
a baby.
And it was called like Baby something.
Yeah. It was
called Baby Something.
It was called Baby Something.
That's great.
With Michelle Buteau, right?
Yes. Incredible movie.
Love
and
Michelle
very, very accurate to what being pregnant is. And that was, I mean, even being pregnant, there were so many people who were like, isn't it just beautiful? It's so like the miracle of life, you know? I was so nauseous during my pregnancy. I was so miserable. All I said every day was like, I just want to get this baby out of me. Like, I just want him to be here. Because I was nauseous the entire time, and the kid kicked like crazy. So I was very excited to like
he's got the tap dance.
I mean, he's
blood in him.
exactly.
Maybe he'll be a tap dancer.
Oh my gosh, I would love. I gotta call Tommy. Work. I love it. Yes.
I'll
yeah.
teach.
Oh my gosh, how great! I'll walk him over here.
Yeah.
It's you know. It's crazy how much we don't talk about, but I, again, just like glad to have a support group. And like, you lose your hair, which is like 6 months after you lose the like pregnancy glow, and then your hair starts falling out in clumps.
Oh my god!
Like you can't see it, but like my little baby hairs here are like just starting to grow back out. So like when I pull my hair back, all you see is like.
Well, I think you're glowing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you are.
Thank you so much. I feel like
and
it's
not
9
just
months.
because it's hot in here.
No, it's been 9 months, and I feel like now I'm like starting to feel like myself again. Like you just don't feel like yourself for a while because it's you grew a human and then like popped it out of you. So like you're just not gonna feel like yourself for a while. And I think my misconception was like, I'm gonna have the baby. I'll be in bed for a few weeks and then I'll feel fine. And that was not the case at all. Like it was like a slow journey to feel anywhere like me again.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're doing great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, this was amazing. This was so much fun. I can't wait to meet your son.
Yay!
And I have met your husband once.
Yes. Yes, you have.
But this is amazing. I loved getting all these little stories. I loved hearing
gosh.
about the Nickelodeon of it all.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't know you were a tap dancer.
I mean,
think that's fabulous.
Yep. I'm gonna shuffle on out of here.
Yeah.
So where can the people find you on the internet?
I'm at Ashley Argota 9 on the Instagrams.
There she is.
So
There
I'll
she
see you
is.
guys there.
Why the 9?
It was my favorite number. And I'll be honest with you, Nickelodeon forced me to get a Twitter and an Instagram page when those things were happening. And I wanted to be cool. I didn't want to be like the Ashley Argota.
Yeah.
That felt, I didn't know what to do. So I just was like, Ashley Argota 9? And they were like, great. So there it is.
I love it.
That's great. And you can find us at Let's Talk About That Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We're all over the interwebs.
Yes, and if you have a question or comment or an inquiry, you can send us an email at letstalkaboutthatpod@gmail.com.
That's right.
Yeah. So,
Well, thank
thanks,
you, Ashley.
Thank you for
being
having
here.
me. This was so fun. Thank you.
And we'll see you next time on Let's Talk About That. Bye.